Hey, what's up, guys? So I want to answer this question because I got one specific question about it, and I realized I've never talked about this sort of thing, but I think it could be interesting for some folks out there. Someone was asking me how I got a animated GIF from a video file of mine. They said, hey, what service did you use? Did you use an app? Did you use a website? And I said, I use Photoshop. And some people know this, of course, but it's not always obvious that you can. And yeah, if you have a teeny tiny short clip and you upload it to one of these services or whatever, and there's apps, you can export animated GIFs, but you can do it in Photoshop because Photoshop can read a video file. It's not a video editor. Please don't use it that way, but it can absolutely read a video file. So here's a behind the scenes shot of a photo event that I was at yesterday, and it's kind of cool. I dragged it into Photoshop, or went to the Control Command O and opened, found the file and opened it into Photoshop. It won't do it natively because it's a video file, right? So you have to find it and open it, or drag it down here on a Mac into the Photoshop logo. Anyway, pops open and something comes up called a timeline window, okay? Window menu, timeline, if you don't see it, it's a timeline. And if you hit spacebar, you'll see it play back. Okay, and of course the audio is running as well. We're going to just mute that real quick. And as you can see, it's a little bit jagged looking because Photoshop will play back the animation, play it back basically as an animation. It's not a native video editor, but you can see what's happening, right? Now, you might think, well, how do I get an animated GIF of that? Well, there's one key way that's very important. A lot of people don't realize this, but especially if you're just a photographer or a retoucher, you may not do a lot of web work. Why would you, right? So if you go to export, you'll see here something called Save for Web. Very, very common in the web world, obviously. Something I use for 2 decades, maybe. And you can go there and choose animated GIF, and you can change the depth settings and everything else, which we will do. But I'm going to warn you right now, regardless of how new or old your computer is, you don't want to go to Save for Web if you have this huge clip right now sitting in your timeline, because it's going to try to process that as one giant clip. So if you open up a 4K clip and it's 37 seconds long and you go to Save for Web, one problem that I noticed is that it's going to try to process it. And that could be 20, 30, 40 seconds, a minute, 90 seconds of waiting just to see an initial result, right? So what I recommend doing is getting your animated GIF, which should be shorter anyway, right? That's why we want an animated GIF. We don't necessarily need a 45-second animated GIF. It's too big for that, right? So what we can do is we can take our timeline and we can drag and drop to different lengths. So let's go ahead and just kind of put our cursor over and drag it over. It'll kind of reset itself. This is about 15 seconds, which is extremely long. I found that the ending of the clip right here, when these guys were looking at the clip together, something like this, not bad, maybe a little longer actually, something like that. Cool. Let's say I wanted that as an animated GIF. It's not very long. It's like a little over 3 seconds, no big deal. Okay, now let's go ahead, export. Save for Web. This is still going to take a few seconds, okay? I'm actually on my older laptop right now, not my new iMac, so this will probably take even longer. So I'll go ahead and fast forward. It's probably going to be in the 20, 25 second range to process the initial result, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so welcome to Save for Web. If you've never been here, a couple of options. One, by default, usually, you're going to be on the Optimize tab. Let's look at the top left of the screen. You notice there's Original, Optimize, 2-up, and 4-up. That's very important when you're trying to compare the original to what you're exporting. Now, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, this was very important because optimizing images for the internet was a huge deal before download speeds were what they are now, which is very, very fast. You know, the dial-up era. It was crazy. So you really wanted to, like, how compressed can I make an image and still not sacrifice too much? So it's not that important. Some people consider Save for Web to be deprecated, and I understand why. But nonetheless, here we are. Let's see, our image format is obviously GIF, and it's pronounced GIF, not GIF. I don't care what anyone says. Graphics Interchange Format, okay? And that's what's going to give us the animation capability. I'm going to say no transparency because I don't need it. I'm going to turn that off. And that's going to give us our first idea of what happens when you use this export device. When you click anything, it tries to reprocess from the ground up. So a really, really long clip that has to reprocess and kind of redisperse and redistribute the bit depth and the colors and limited colors, which we're going to talk about in a minute, takes a few seconds. So right now, by default, just because I was there earlier, I have 64 colors set up, right? Maximum of 256 because that's GIF files for you, right? And the dither at 100% is fairly common. We don't usually change that. Web snap and lossy, we don't usually change that either, okay? But as you can see, here's the palette that it came up with. Down the bottom, we have a play button, rewind, and all of that. And usually the looping option of forever is the most common thing. GIFs are very old. They go back to the 80s, and we mostly use them for funny little things when we're texting each other or DMing each other, I know. But every now and then, someone wants an animated GIF. So this is one way to do it. So let's hit play, and you can see what we're getting. But as you notice, it works. It's great. The colors look fine, even at 64. But let's take a look at something because of the nature of how GIF works. Bottom left, 58 megabytes, which is absurd. We do not ever need a short little clip to be 58 megabytes, right? So we have to do a couple of different things. We can change the size right here. You see with the image size down here, we have a percentage and all that. We can change it right here. But for efficiency purposes, I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. And I'm going to go back to the main image here because now I can change not only the size, but I want to show you that this is actually a bit of a smart object. So I can add, let's say, for example, an adjustment layer. Let's say I go to color and vibrance, right? So I come here and I'm going to choose some more vibrance and I'm going to shift the color a little more green maybe and a little more yellow, something like that. From there to there, cool. Maybe even a little bit more vibrance. I don't mind that so much. And now that's actively going to change every frame underneath. I'm going to go to image size right here instead of having it reprocess completely. And I'm going to go on the percentage. I'm going to make it, let's say 50%, something like that. Maybe even smaller. You know what? Let's go 35%. Hit OK. Boom. Okay, let's zoom in just a little bit so we can see. If we hit play on our timeline, we'll see that it still looks kind of OK. Now, let's try again. Save for web, which is Shift Option Command or Shift Alt Control S. Let's let that process for a few seconds again. All right, so let's take a look at what it did here. Let's hit play. Looks pretty good. We're going to zoom in. I don't see that as necessarily a problem. As you can see, now it's a GIF. And look, from 58 megabytes, it went to 8. That's a massive difference, right? And that's why, in the old days of designing for the web, and even obviously in the modern era, we still have to consider data. If we're making like an animated GIF of a 17-second, 1080i clip, and we're sending it 30 FPS to somebody, here's a funny GIF, and you send it on the phone, what's it going to help if it's 400 megabytes? It's not. It's going to just choke everything. We don't need that. Now, real quick, we can go from 64, and let's choose 32, which is going to kill the overall colors available. I'm going to reprocess it. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to look a little more GIF-like, classically GIF, with that kind of horrible dithering and whatnot. But now it's only 6 megabytes. But that's a significant sacrifice of quality for the amount of size you're gaining from 8 to 6. So I'm going to put it back to 64. As you can see, it still looks GIF-like, but it's only about 8 meg. That's not bad at all. Now, other things, like interlaced and web snap and lossy, those are all like web discussions, if you will, whether we want lossy compression or not, et cetera, et cetera. But this is the fastest way. Now we can just hit save and put it somewhere. And then we can, text that if we want to. You can put it on our phones if we want to. We add it to social media platforms and we'll have this repeating GIF. Just a small, silly little thing because someone asked me how I did it because I put it on a website recently. And they're like, how did you, they didn't ask me how I used it, how I did it actually. They asked me what service I used to make it a GIF. And I said, well, if you're a photographer and you have Photoshop, you can just use Photoshop. Been making GIFs for 30 years on there.